Hi guys, welcome to Trip Around the Multiverse. I am CY Chung, I am with my co-host.
Kyle Charles.
And what we will be talking about on our podcast, films, TVs, comic books, wrestling, general entertainment stuff, things we've done, things we've been a part of, pop culture, life experiences. Might have some reviews, discussions, retrospectives, and debates about stuff in general, all over the place. We're actually going to have a comic book discussion a bit later on in this intro episode. But first, Carl,
Hello.
when did you first get into comics, man?
I first got into comics, I want to say I was about... It's always been in my life, to be honest. Like, my dad's a comic book fan. He got into it in, like, the late 60s, 70s. So, obviously, I was destined to go down that sort of same path.
Quite a back issue collection you must have there.
Well, yeah, he had loads before he moved in with my mum. He had to get rid of, like, crap ton of them.
No! Think of the money.
Found some of them. Like, I got the wedding issue of Wolverine, not Wolverine, Cyclops and Jean Grey. I got that. I got some.
Wait, the proper wedding, or the Madeline Pryor wedding?
The proper wedding.
Okay.
Wedding.
All right.
Issue comic it was. I took it to Chris Claremont at a Comic Con.
The 90s one, yep.
He's like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, oh, well, okay, whatever. So yeah, so since I was a kid, literally, got introduced to it through that, and then what sort of got me more into it was like the 90s cartoons like Batman, Spider-Man, and
X-Men. You have to the famous theme song that everyone
best apparent animated cartoon of all time. That and Batman animated
between
series.
them two, yes, that's what they.
So, and because of that, obviously, I've always been a huge X-Men fan, which you'll probably figure out as this series goes on. So I'll be biased towards them in nearly every sort of form of media there is. So, yeah. So, what about you? When did you?
So, I was going to comics back when they were like 60p. That's just way back in primary school, over 20 years ago.
Yeah, sometime.
No.
Say sometime in the 90s.
They were 60p, and now look at the price. Inflation jumped up crazy.
£3 or some dollars.
Yeah. I do remember when I was reading it, where Thor. It wasn't Thor. That was Thor. It was Eric Marston who was Thor, and it's strange when you look at it now, because you don't look at it like, oh, Donald Blake used to be Thor, and he was just a man who had the power of Thor because of the hammer. Now he's actually Thor.
Yeah, through weird loopholes.
Donald Blake was always Thor, so he never needed the power of Thor, some oddity like that. But yeah, when I was in it, basically Eric Marston was a guy who lifted a hammer and actually got legit the powers of Thor, as the throwback to how they initially did it in the 60s. I know when they added West Guardians and stuff, by the time they added Loki and whatnot, I guess they thought, you know what, I might as well just turn in Full Guardian and retcon something back there.
Yeah.
I remember those, and I remember Impact Comics, where The Fly and the Comet. But the thing I first started collecting was Marvel UK anthology series of The Exploits of Spider-Man. You used to have the current issues of Amazing Spider-Man there, Spectacular Spider-Man, a Spider-Man back issue, which would start from 1, so whatever issue would be equivalent to that 60s issue as well. And then they'd throw in there like a Marvel UK series like Motor Mouth and Overkill or Death's Head 2, whatever they had. So throw some what ifs or even Transformers at the time, just depending what they needed to fill in their
meat quota.
Exactly. But the proper series I started first collecting was so this is during the Clone Saga.
Yeah.
The Green Goblin had a series.
Yeah.
And I remember collecting that. So I was collecting bits and pieces of Spider-Man, but what I call it collecting is like you during the Clone Saga, you don't have the money to get all the titles that's going on, so you just get
every week
chunks here and there.
Yeah.
Green Goblin was a 13-issue, I want to say limited series, but what happened was they started it and it was like just a just a kid who stumbled into the Goblin hideout and got all the stuff, and then he was just having cool adventures.
Yeah.
But then when they decided Norman Osborn was actually going to be the figurehead of the Clone Saga, they had to get rid of this Green Goblin to make the Green Goblin. Yeah. So stopped collecting that. But proper series ongoing that I first collected was Green Lantern. I just got it at the end of the Ron Martz run, like 125, with Carl Rayner in it.
Okay.
And then by that point it's like, right, back issues all the way now. Back issues.
Yeah.
And then back issues down to 87 I have now of Green Lantern.
Oh, wow.
987. When they first, well, one of the times they destroyed Central Power Battery before they restarted a new series with Hal, Guy Gardner and John Stewart. And then at issue 50 of that series, volume 3, it was when Hal decided to destroy the battery again.
Yeah, just repeating cycles, isn't it? I remember the first, sort of like you, I remember as a kid, my brother was getting those same sort of Spider-Man comics, and I was getting the X-Men ones.
Yeah.
And again, hence why I have the...
But the X-Men wasn't... So, they were running storylines, but you had Blue Team, Gold Team.
Yeah.
So I guess you could separately get Uncanny and
No, they were actually... Because it was like, sort of like yours, it was the Essential X-Men. So basically, we would have the Blue Team...
Oh, right, gotcha.
Gold Team in the same book. And then the back issue... I mean, the third like story in it would be Generation X.
But I thought you meant ongoing.
Oh no!
At the time.
At the time, yeah, when I was younger. But when I started proper getting back in the comics was like, I literally remember it's like 2001, and I started getting Ultimate X-Men, the Ultimate Universe, which started off really good, and then turned to a dumpster fire in the middle, and it got really good at the end, but then they cancelled it.
At what point is okay? So are you saying when it turned into Ultimate X, or before the point it turned into Ultimate X?
Oh no, literally, getting to issue 100 like X-Men, well, say from 80s, Ultimate X-Men, something like from the issue 80 when they started bringing in like Cable, who was Wolverine from the future, and Sinister was some god sort of thing to bring back.
Wasn't he? Yeah, wasn't he cult like leader sort of tattooed?
He had to kill mutants to gain power to bring back Apocalypse.
Yeah, very wacky Sinister.
From...
I remember. Was that the one who threw Professor X down the stairs in the wheelchair?
I think so. I just remember reading it. There's lots of weird plot lines in that comic. Like one I'm quickly gonna randomly go into because it's literally getting into my head. No Colossus's powers yet is the metal.
Yeah, right. Turns to organic metal skin.
Yeah, but okay, in the Ultimate Universe,
yes, I think
when he turns into metal, he doesn't have the strength. So all this time he was taking his drug.
Yeah. So just to clarify, this is what I remember. Right. So he can turn into metal, but he can't move after that.
Yeah.
So then he had to take that mutant growth hormone, whatever they were using at that,
which they call. They call Banshee in that,
and then he could actually move within his metal form.
But then he started mutating.
Yeah, I say it's very. I know it's a very awkward power to just like, okay, I'm going to turn into a statue now and not do anything.
Yeah.
But then also when there was Ultimates versus Ultimate X-Men, and Hawkeye was threatened to shoot Colossus in his eye.
Yeah, because it's the only bit that's not metal.
Yeah, but in the classic universe, he's
exactly. This is when the Ultimate Universe started to get like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Like it just. So
no, but Ultimate Spider-Man was always
Ultimate Spider-Man because it had the same right all the way through.
Yeah.
Ultimate X-Men, so about issue 50 or whatever was Mark Miller, so it sort of had that same person writing it, and then it started having Bendis for it for a bit, and then someone else for it for a bit.
Yeah.
And then they added their own little things to make it different, but then it just made it worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then everyone got that Banshee jug. If you took it as well, you get a secondary mutation sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, it got really stupid.
Okay. As you first of all, let's just clear the air about the Ultimate Universe. We're saying Ultimate Spider-Man is really good, right?
Yeah, Ultimate
X-Men started off good.
Starts off really good.
I mean, like when I was reading it as well, but I didn't follow it completely. I just got the first couple of
starts off really good.
But then you're saying that
it doesn't get terrible. It just tails off a bit. Like what? Right. And then Ultimatum happens.
Wait. Let's go to Ultimates and then Ultimatum. Yeah. So Ultimates, what did you think of the Ultimates?
Reading it then, it was good. Reading it now, it's so outdated.
Oh man. So what it is, Ultimates Volume 1 and 2, to me, it's like your epic blockbuster movie, right? But when you look back and you're like, sometimes I think some of this is done just to progress to the next action scene.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, they could just sit down and speak to each other. Maybe?
Yeah,
no, we're not going to do that.
It's like, and like one of the main opening things for Ultimate Universe, Ultimates, like for some reason the Hulk's a cannibal.
Yeah.
Why? You know what I mean? Like what?
And he was repressed as well.
Yeah, and he wants to make love to people. That's nice as well.
And tear apart Freddie Prinze Jr. But So, but Ultimates 1 and 2, aside from those there's a bit of wackiness to it, right?
Yeah.
But there are, I think, volume 1 and 2,
good.
Volume 3 is, something
Interesting.
interesting. So it's something else altogether. But that's when
it starts falling apart.
Yeah,
the universe.
But then as well, it's like there weren't consistency between what the Ultimate uniforms looked like and the classic uniforms, and Joe Maduro was drawing the classic kind of uniforms.
But then some people had their Ultimate uniform, which made it even more confusing.
Very odd editorial things going on there. But then you're saying now we're going to Ultimatum. It's just like completely.
The first issue, you're like, oh, this is amazing, and then everything's terrible after that. It's just shock value
for the sake of
it, and then I get the whole thing like, okay, we're gonna kill off a certain amount of heroes and villains to move on to the next phase.
Yeah,
but some of it was just like,
I mean, they wanted a refresh.
Yeah,
to not just be the Ultimates, what is a replicant universe of the classic universe.
Yeah.
But then you can't really, if you're expecting duplicate characters, you can't really have original characters.
Yeah.
You altered the personalities, yes, because classic Gwen Stacy and Ultimate Gwen Stacy are completely different personalities.
Yeah, one's still alive.
yeah. But
that
you're like, okay, I can get that, I can get the change, but then when you just wholesale replace Wolverine with his son, who has the exact same power set as him, but it's just blonde.
But yeah, his power's slightly different.
Oh yeah, no, like similar enough, similar hairstyle, but different. And you're just like, well, okay, but that's just Wolverine, just with different hair.
I mean, he came after Ultimatum.
Yeah. So the Ultimatum was a reset.
Yeah.
Point. I was just like, okay, like you either should have done that at the beginning, or you should never have done it at all.
Yeah, it's just some of it. Yeah, Ultimatum stuff coming out of Ultimatum was actually better than Ultimatum itself.
Yes.
But like,
a
lot of like after the Ultimatum, Ultimate Spider-Man carried on being Ultimate Comics Spider-Man kept being good.
Yep.
Ultimate Avengers and Ultimate Comics Ultimates was good.
Yeah. And then Ultimate X-Men.
Ultimate X-Men was good.
Yeah.
Actually, but even that started a bit later. No, there wasn't any Ultimate X-Men.
No, it was Ultimate X, was it?
Ultimate X, and then that led into after Miles died. I mean, not Miles, sorry. Peter died.
Yeah.
Ultimate X-Men started again.
Yeah.
And that was good because they like basically doing that. All the head X-Men are dead, like Xavier, Magneto, Wolverine, Cyclops.
Yeah.
And so the young ones are trying to keep the mutant race going through any means sort of necessary. They won't go out and attack people, but like if you're going to attack us, we'll do what we're doing. And then you had Johnny Storm and Human Torch living with Spider-Man, which is pretty cool.
That's great. It was like Spider-Man and his amazing friends, except that Human Torch replaced Firestar.
Yeah.
But you know what's really good about the Ultimate Spider-Man is like I can read it, and even though not much action happens, but a lot of dialogue happens.
Yeah.
I mean, like, oh yeah, this is great because it's character progression, but it's fun as well. It's they're having casual conversation, and you just developing the characters a lot. I mean, some people would be like, okay, I'm buying these for action, right? The comics, adventure, but I'm like, well, you buy it for fun. Yeah, these guys are having the jokes that they should be at their age. In the house.
Because even with the X-Men sort of thing, they sort of brought the action sort of down to more like, all right, we're teenagers and we're dealing with all this stuff as well. We we still have our sort of hijinks, whatever, but there's more serious things about rather than us just. Everyone hates us, but we're going to save the world. Like, no, everyone hates us. We're going to save ourselves.
But aside from that, so you're currently still collecting X-Men?
Yeah, X-Men. I'm still collecting that. Dipping in and out of Spider-Man.
Amazing Spider-Man?
Yeah, dipping in and out.
Because he's got different titles.
Yeah, Amazing. I don't know if Friendly Neighborhood's still about, or whatever. Then we got Miles Morales Spider-Man, dipping in and out as well.
Superior, they did have Spider-Man 2099. They did have.
Yeah,
but
I read that all at the end.
Okay. But so what else?
Yes. So there's Spider-Man. Bit of the DC stuff, like bit of Batman, obviously. Yeah. Bit of the Flash.
Yeah.
That's about it. I dip in and I keep my toes.
Well, here's the thing I will say about DC is once they had their titles come out twice every month, you got to start cutting stuff.
Yeah.
Currently, I'm only getting Batman, Detective, Comics, Nightwing, Flash, and Daredevil.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting that much.
I don't.
they you know they take it. I don't say they're taking my money,
But yeah.
once they slow down the production of twice a month, which I think they have, I'll be able to.
It's
look up
easier
more
to
issues,
keep track of it as well. Like you said, comics is an expensive hobby, so it's like.
Actually, you know what? I'm wanting to get some back issues of stuff. Actually, that's how I built my. So my collection of the Flash was when the Blitz storyline happened in Flash 2000. So I had some back issues of Flash, and like, okay, the return of Barry Allen, Yubel Thorne.
Yeah.
So I was like, when I read that, and then afterwards I was like, okay, I see Reverse Flash here in this cover. So Yubel Thorne was come back to terrorize Wally West.
Yeah.
Turns out no, someone else.
Hunter
but then
Solomon.
then you had to get the backstory of that. But then you're like, all right, let me get the backstories of other stuff.
Yeah, and just keep going.
Yeah, so my Flash collection started building back to double-digit numbers somewhere. Probably about 60 something. Though there's some Flash I'd like to get, like Flash Year 1 and stuff like that. No, Flash Wally West, Flash Year 1, Barry Allen Year 1. Though, yeah, so that's how I built most of my stuff. Even went back to get some amazing Spider-Man stuff, like chunks of the Clone Saga I didn't get the first time round.
Yeah.
Get now, and I think it was not. I think it was bad because it was misaligned in the fact that it was long.
Yeah.
If they had a story what they know they were doing,
if they had like a middle, beginning, and end, which they actually want to do, it would be fine. But
I think though the silliness
editorial and that stuff.
The silliness was Peter Parker now becoming the Spider.
Yeah.
Foregoing all his life as Peter Parker, which is what made him relatable in the first place and popular. But I think they kind of did that so they could introduce Ben Reilly.
Yeah.
As Peter Parker. More the version that we used to, so then you get to build his own fan base.
Yeah.
Except that at that point, DC had Carl Rayner, who's basically Spider-Man with a Green Lantern ring.
Yeah.
Which helped him build his fan base. Also Terry McGinnis.
Yeah,
Batman.
The best Batman in my opinion, but yeah.
Peter Parker as Batman, essentially.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that that's a bad thing to do, but what I'm saying is they grabbed the ordinary life situations.
Yeah.
And that's how they built the character upwards. I don't think Scarlet Spider was a bad creation.
No, but it's just
but
handling was wrong.
Yeah. At the time, and the entire Spider-Man line was a bit awkward, anyways. And they could have, instead of, I know they built up to One More Day and all that crap, right? Yeah. But forget that. If you wanted a single Spider-Man, they could have just done it with Ben Reilly, taken 2 issues of. So they had 4 Spider-Man issues. Web of Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man, and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right? Which they, after the Clone Saga, relabeled as Peter Parker Spider-Man, so everyone knew.
Yeah.
But point is, if they wanted a single Spider-Man, they could have just done it with Ben Reilly, but I think that they were like, okay, everyone's had enough of the 2 years of the silliness that is running on in the Clone Saga because we're making shit up as we're going along. Let's just wipe the slate clean and forget that ever happened to a degree. And then they pull off One More Day, and then I was like, "Oh, Spider-Man! I'm just gonna have to." Actually, no, I did hold off to the end of Brand New Day, but I just couldn't get back. I just couldn't get back into it. Though I wish I did get the pompous, arrogant, egomaniacal, superior Spider-Man. He was great.
He was great.
The issue I read.
For me, as much as I liked it, I could only go on for so long before you just like, this is just treading its wheels now. So it was good they got 36 issues out of it. Yeah. I think any more than that, like if he was still to this day, like this is just tiresome now. You know, how far can you go with this sort of thing?
Yeah, I think they. I always said because when people were complaining about Doctor Octopus being Spider-Man, I was like, okay, well, at least he never sold his wife to Mephisto, the Marvel version of the devil. But at the very last issue of Superior Spider-Man, in order to defeat Norman Osborn from another dimension, he does some shady stuff with Mephisto to get back to his original body. I was like, oh no!
Full circle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh no, I'm gonna have to dump this title now. No, they cancelled that.
They cancelled that. Yeah.
I wouldn't say either they cancelled it or it ran its course.
It ran its course because I think again
because they never put it out as a limited series. Is why I'm saying this. I don't know if it's cancelled or.
I think it was a limited series, but I don't think. I know they go through a habit of like telling you it is and then not telling you with certain things. So you read it and like, oh,
Yeah.
so this fractal, oh, it's only limited issues.
Yeah.
Like, but you should have said that in the beginning, or have like on the book 1 of 12. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I'm gonna have a look for back issues of Iron Fist when Ed Brubaker wrote it.
Yeah.
The one where it was like basically Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Essentially, I want to read that. Ed Brubaker's great because the Winter Soldier storyline, the Gotham Central, all those like.
He was good on X-Men. A lot of people don't like him, but I thought it was good.
Greg Rucka as well. It's like they're good crime story writers. That don't necessarily need to be superhero comics. They just happen to have superheroes.
Yeah, it just happened
in
to be in that.
Which is good, which is great. I just wait like if he had a run on that, I think Nightwing is a lead run. Is why I think Scott Snyder's going to write something with Nightwing at some point. Yeah.
Oh,
he's got a storyline. You know what is funny is when Nightwing is Batman, he's hyper competent. He's super competent, and then when he's Nightwing, he's made sure to be
lesser than Batman.
Yes, exactly. That's what. So I'm just saying, before the DC Rebirth, when that time Dick Grayson was Batman, all of a sudden,
like was it Black Mirror?
Yeah.
That
was like really good storylines.
Yeah.
And what's really good is that the Joker knew that he wasn't Batman as well.
But going back to the Nightwing thing, since Rebirth, except for the whole shooting the head thing, which I haven't read, so I have no judgment on that. The first few arcs of Robin was good. Even the first arc we did, he was called Better Than Batman, and it kind of proved to me and my other people that he actually is better than Batman because he's not a psychopath.
Yeah.
Unlike Batman, he's
they all got
mental.
Well, Batman and his villains have some sort of mental issues. Yeah. I would say Nightwing, as much as he's had a similar origin, he's shaken that
he's shaken off the trauma off.
Yeah.
Unlike Batman, he's just still has
beating up everyone with similar.
Exactly.
Like so you're saying the clown Joker's got sociopathy. Batman beats him up.
Yeah.
The Clayface has got some sort of body trauma.
No,
beat him up.
Yeah, exactly. He just beats up.
Riddler's got a compulsion with Riddler. Beat him up.
Yeah,
Two-Face got split personality.
Exactly. Rather than just sit down and talk to him, you know what? You need help. I can probably help you because I have money.
Bane's like, I want to break the back of the bat. I've got some trauma issues going on there.
Yeah.
I'll beat him up.
But
I actually think they're all good reflections of Batman, and some of them to the degree. Bruce Wayne, like the Penguin now, is crime boss Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Like Richard, Joker's Psycho Batman, to a degree, because he's always prepared, he's nutty and everything like that.
Yeah. But as much as everyone loves the Joker, sometimes I think he's just written that way for convenience.
Yeah. Harvey Dent is like the duality of Batman and Bruce Wayne, the balance.
Someone who couldn't find balance, that's Two-Face.
I would say Bane is like the physicality and strategicness of all of Batman, just kind of heightened and more to be opposed at the opposition of that side. Because, like you say, most of them, like we were just joking about, punch him in the face, but you can't. Bane's going to take it to him.
Yeah, Bane.
Ra's al Ghul is like his war on criminals. Batman's war on crime just elevated to a whole.
Yeah. Centuries long.
Yeah, and not psychopathic levels, but it's like, I'm committed to the cause as much as I can. Yeah. So I think that as much as you joke about Batman's a psycho in a bat suit.
Yeah.
All his villains are like or reflections of him. So to a degree, so I'd say that it's well done at least.
Yeah.
but Nightwing, like, I don't. It's like. What can you say about his set of villains? That there's nothing. I don't want to say, he's got his most notable villains are Bat villains, but he's got to have his own rogues gallery that aren't Batman villains, even though he's ingrained into.
Yeah, but he sort of does, but because he's not thrown out, like his comics itself is not thrown out as much as Batman. That's why people don't really know who his rogue gallery is.
Yeah.
And plus. I reckon if it was the case, he was sort of thrown out there. They would just make like identical Batman villains for him, but just change their name slightly. Oh, that's blatantly
Didn't
this
they
person.
update the New 52 prankster to be basically his version of Joker?
Did they? Oh.
Yeah. They did that. Not necessarily as in to be his version of Joker, but just be like the person that like not the crazy one that's mass murder, because it's not like that. But it's just the crazy. I'll just test him. It's a bit of a combination of Riddler and Joker.
Yeah, because like he's got. In New 52,
but the prankster's the Superman villain, so it's like.
Yeah.
What?
Well, New 52, they just like, we just make whoever to who. It doesn't make no difference. No one cares. So, which would literally happen. But like, he's got characters. He's got villains like Orca, who's quite new. If I remember correctly, he was in the New 52 one of his. He's got Talon.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. That's
Rapture.
a good one. Yeah. I mean, I'd say the Talon's good because it actually combines with the backstory and the Grey Son of Gotham. Whatever they did, whatever they did, the backstory of that, and they retcon it there, it just kind of makes sense to why they did it. And essentially, that makes Talon, the Court of Owls, a Nightwing villain also. Yeah. Talon specifically, the William Cobb Talon. Yeah. So he's like, okay, now it adds something to. He's got his own set of villains that have his own villain that has a problem with him specifically, but Court of Owls. Problem with Batman is in Gotham, so kind of like they cross over, but they're not separate. They're not completely. But just I don't like before New 52 he had Blockbuster, but then Blockbuster was, I don't want to say their Nightwing's version of Kingpin as though he was Daredevil, but
basically it was that, isn't it?
I think he just needs not as much as I like the guy. I mean, the Grayson run was kind of fun. Yeah, but he needed something to set. He needs something to set him apart from Batman, and boost up his rogues gallery to a certain degree.
They need to sort of try to do that with him getting shot in the head thing, becoming Rick Grayson. Yeah, but then everyone crapped on it, and then
I think that's because it was too soon right after Grayson as well, because they technically killed him in Forever Evil, and then they shot him in the head. After he come back, and it's just like, it's too soon
to be fair, that was 2013. Yeah. 14, that stuff. So,
but no, they're just people might look at it as though they've already done something now. Why do that again? What? I
don't know. I was about to go into a tangent about comic fans. I'm not going to go.
So.
No. But I get what you mean.
Like, if they were further apart from each other, and not to say, what was the point of Rick Grayson? That storyline, but if it was to try and get him involved in the Court of Owls, where they finally take him over because he's got his memory issues, great, and they went about it a great way. However, if it wasn't and they retconned it back, that's even better, because there's like someone saw a problem and like, I'm gonna fix it.
It's just so but that whole thing, stuff like that, just makes me really confused. But
The Flash is so as much as that you say confused, I mean, like Nightwing's basically straightforward linear reading. Yeah, the Flash runs back and forth. Yeah, literally. But I can, it's like some things happen depending on who's writing it. Yeah, some things happen in one part of the story that relates to the story further along. But then he goes back, and I was like, oh wow, man. Yeah. Either the people knew they were doing what they were doing and planned it all along.
I like to hope that's the way. But,
or they're like, all right, I'm gonna take this that I've read previously from another writer, and I'm just gonna add this and that and tweak it. Yeah. I would say Jeff Johns loves to do that stuff. Not necessarily with. There's bits of Alan Moore stories he takes and expands upon. Yeah. But it's like, if it sounds like a good story, a plot, and no one's going to do anything with it,
I might as well. Yeah, I like stuff like that. That makes sense.
I mean, if there's enough story threads, might as well wrap it up.
Like, my only problem is like when a writer, just like say for example, Jeff John just finished on The Flash, and you got, throw a random name out there, Bendis. Actually, no, wrong example. Yeah. Snyder or someone goes, okay, I'm gonna write this character now. Yeah. But I'm gonna kind of forget what that writer just did. Yeah. And then go this way with it. That stuff sort of annoys me. Like, but there was lots. That person built that character for like 5 years. Yeah. And you're gonna go forward and pretend like 90% of that stuff didn't happen.
Yeah.
Why?
Just to reset to a position that the writer's not familiar with it, or they just want their take on it and forget the other takes. Now I have to say, Flash had a great run from Mark Waid and Jeff Johns taking over.
Yeah.
That was a great set of run, and I do think Green Lantern from when Ron Marks handled it, even to the end of when Judd Winnick had it.
Yeah.
And then I think Jeff Johns was like, "Let's flip the table." Because I want Hal Jordan back, and I'm just joking about it. But it's like, okay, well, we're just gonna Carl Rayner, just gonna push him to the side and get my my Hal Jordan back, you know.
But what I would say with that though,
good writer, good stories, anyways.
Yeah.
But he
didn't get pushed to the background. Like for example, something like that would be like, what's a good example in my head?
Probably one of the X-Men, right?
Yeah, it's like when.
No, I was going to go a different example, but when who was Captain Marvel before Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
So I believe there was this when Captain America came back. She was the leader of the Avengers at some point. Captain America came back. She got shunted right to the back.
Yeah, stuff like that. You're like, what? Why would you?
Yeah. You built the character up.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. Is that as also? I believe.
Actually, here's a good point. For example, Luke Cage. You know his whole when Bendis was in charge of Avengers and that stuff. Yeah. Luke Cage came from, I wouldn't say obscurity to being something for like a good best part of the early 2000s, even to like mid 2010ish and stuff. And then now, where is he? You know what I mean? Like something like that.
I just say as well. I don't want to say like you're saying he plucked out of obscurity. Yeah. More like he was. I don't say necessarily a lower tier character, but they basically positioned him in their street. I don't want to say street power level Avengers because they didn't have the Thor and the Hulk.
Yeah,
they put Luke Cage in that position, which is a smart move. Because his power levels, I don't even know how strong he is. Would you say Colossus?
He's back Colossus. Yeah,
Colossus and the Thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's not as strong as those characters, but I guess they tweaked him to certain enemies that would allow him to.
But I think
be the brute of the team.
They sort of brought him into from say, I won't say deep.
But he was a great his personality is so different from them.
Yeah, so he brought him up. Yeah. And then now, sort of, where is he?
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we completely shunted, let's give him a book, but not put someone good on it to write it. Got cancelled, oh no.
Oh yeah.
That sort of thing, okay. So that good 15 years of him.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That it was weird that when you're younger, you follow the character, but when you're older, you start following the writers.
Yeah.
And the art has to be at a certain level, but you're not too picky. If the writing's really good, you can stick with average art. And stuff like that. But it depends on what team sometimes is on what.
Yeah.
So you still kind of stay loyal to the person the character you're collecting, just to see the adventures and see what's going on. I mean, Batman's had a huge roster of artists and
writers.
Exactly. And great runs. Well, he's had very good runs as well. Varying degrees to a certain level sometimes, depending on who's on it. But mostly, all really solid, really good. Okay, so let me just refer to the comic book discussion we're going to have. I mentioned ages before, so let me ask you. This is the question.
Yeah.
If you had to transplant one comic book character's rogues gallery to another character, what would be the most interesting combination? So let me, for example, I'll give you one, and then we can run the examples. So if you were to grab Flash's rogues gallery, and give it to Spider-Man, how would do you think that work? But take it to allowances as well.
Yeah.
In universe, things that have to be tweaked in order to make it work. So there'll be no speed force here.
Yeah.
If they were if the rogues were in Spider-Man's universe, it'd be the Spider Force, for example. New Fong will come back because he's an idol of Spider-Man. Because that's the only thing. These things work that way because that's part of the storyline.
And you have to for that example, you sort of take Airborne, those sort of characters out. I mean, to make it sort of more interesting.
Well, you could. I know he could come back as an idol of Spider-Man and be
this
like,
gets a bit weird.
yeah. Well, no, okay. Just tweet the Speed Force doesn't exist because the Speedsters are going to murder Spider-Man. Just pretend they have the Spider Force.
Actually, I've got a better one altogether. Okay. All right, what I would do. Here's one I would think would be really interesting.
Yeah.
Because they're sort of the same character-wise in a way. I would take Spider-Man's bit. Actually, no, I'll take Static Shock.
Yeah.
And put him in the Spider-Man role and have Spider-Man's villains because I think that will work more better because like Static is not really he's not really a powerhouse or whatever.
Yeah.
But he is smart, kind of like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So he would sort of work with the villains he fights, and again, he would have to tailor his powers to beat people like Rhino because he couldn't flat out fight Rhino because Static Shock ain't strong.
Right.
It's only his powers.
I would say myself.
Not Static Shock, Static.
I would say myself actually. I think Steel would be good against Spider-Man's enemies because dude's got like so anyone stronger than him can adjust his armor.
Yeah.
And anyone lower tier like the Human or Doctor Octopus, Electro, Vulture, stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's still human enough to take the damage from them.
Yeah.
And he's got his. Hey man, his sledgehammer with the rocket in it.
Yeah.
But they give him more trouble. It's just he can the versatility between all the power levels he can adjust for. If they're above him and if they're below him, he's they still can be tricky for him to deal with. Because of different power sets.
Yeah.
So not like Spider-Man. In the sense that when you take down Rhino, when he's got that webbing that dissolves it, you still could come up with something similar. Like that, But we could just come up with bigger, stronger armor to take that particular guy down.
It would be as fun. Smart.
But the Green Goblin, is a wacky one.
I think Green Goblin is sort of villain that you can you can really put with anyone. It doesn't really make.
No, I'm just saying particularly against if you.
Yeah, I'm saying that's what it would work with Steel or something like that because it's like he hasn't got no particular sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, just because he's insane, he is insane. It would work with someone like Steel, because it's like, Steel's like, well, why are you this insane? I need to tailor my arsenal to combat your insanity.
Okay. Alright, okay, here's another one. So, what do you think of it if Iron Man had Superman's Rogues Gallery?
He would die.
Right.
He wouldn't be as interesting.
Okay. Now, I personally think, this would make Lex Luthor and all those prankster toy men more of a threat to Iron Man because of his power set. He's not as invulnerable as Superman. They're like, he could just flick them on the head and knock them out, right?
Yeah.
The more powerful enemies that he'd actually adjust his armor for, Hulkbuster style. If we're saying Darkseid is a Justice League villain,
no.
Okay, you're gonna still count him as a
Superman because he appeared in Superman.
Well, okay. So it runs a bit odd at certain Superman villains. I think some of them are Darkseid might now after Rebirth move into more of a Justice League villain. So, but Mongol might be a Green Lantern villain. Not to separate this, so I can say, Iron Man's good. It would be good in the. It's just that it depends on what era.
Yeah,
he might be able to do better damage to them, but also if they're powered up, then it's now they're a threat that's on a different category.
Because you got reason why I say it's like he wouldn't survive whatever because we could take out Darkseid even though I don't want to, but
you can't. No, leave him if you want. I just say a Hulkbuster armor.
Yeah, but
to some Mark 5 Hulkbuster armor. Well,
Darkseid's a god. So it's a different thing. So basically, I was gonna go with some weird tangent about Darkseid powers, but anyway, I'll do it after. You got people like Lobo, who would destroy Superman, destroy Iron Man because he's just immortal basically. Brainiac itself again.
Well, I think Iron Man probably come up with a virus to some sort of how they would write him to the Independence Day virus, man. The virus from that film Independence Day. But
that's Brainiac's like a 12 level intellect or whatever.
Yeah, but then Superman's not even. Superman takes him down and he's got.
Well, he doesn't take. He just slows him down. He doesn't take.
But if we were compare the intellects of Iron Man and Superman, but they'd probably write him in a way they'd come up with something to counter it. They defeated Ultron after all.
Yeah, but Ultron was made by a human.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fair, and we would say Brainiac's been around alien worlds.
Exactly. He's going around deciphering knowledge from everywhere and then putting it in bottles.
So your tangent about Darkseid?
I was like, Darkseid's a god. Yeah. He is forever living, and apparently there's one theory where there's only one Darkseid. In the whole multiverse. Yeah. So if he dies, his essence just comes back. That's far beyond anything that Iron Man can even think about.
Alright, but let me put it this way.
Omega beams.
Let me put it this way. So a god can be beaten by a Kryptonian.
Yeah, because Superman basically a god.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, you know, good straight up answer. I can't counter that point because Superman beat up angels as well.
Exactly.
So, you know what I mean?
I'm pretty sure he's punched God as well.
So. Alright, but I'm just saying, all the people that Iron Man can't brute force fight, he'd probably find a way to. He's a smart man. He's an engineer.
Yeah, he's engineering.
He built the armor in the cave,
even
right?
story-wise, it wouldn't be as fun because, like, the whole Superman sort of thing, until now, everyone knows his identity, was a whole dual identity sort of thing, innit? But because Iron Man, everyone knows who Iron Man is. There's no sort of fun
it depends.
To the villains.
I don't want to say it depends on the era because he did unveil as anything, wipe people's minds, and you know, like they've done that multiple times with Daredevil and Spider-Man as well.
But like since like the mid '90s or whatever, everyone knows that Tony Stark's Iron Man. True. So that's like 30 years now. So it's like wouldn't be as fun because you know those villains tried to do random stuff to like the city and stuff, and Clark Kent's like, oh no, I've got to do this. Blah, blah. But,
well, okay, fair enough.
But then like their villain, everyone know because they'll know who Iron Man is. They'll go straight to like Tony Stark's house and stuff. Like that. It's not as fun. Or he's at press conference.
Hey, Darkseid's not gonna knock at Tony Stark's door and go, oh,
no, he's
boy,
just mega beam his house from Apocalypse and kill him. So I mean, this is
okay. Yeah. But what about the interactions with Luthor? These would be scientist versus scientist, and
they're going to be as fun. Like, just two smart dudes talking about stuff.
Okay, all right, fair.
Brain bleed. You know what I mean?
Okay, what about how would you say Iron Fist?
Yeah.
This comic books would fare in the Udon Comics Street Fighter universe.
He would fare pretty well because, like, because obviously he would be scaled to their powers. Obviously,
no, I think he's done. I don't really think he needs that much scaling.
No, I don't think that's but I mean, like, it sort of be on level with them. Rather.
Yeah, I think they're kind of on. We're talking about super psycho crushes that take away.
take away half the screen or whatever.
Yeah. And people that can blow fireball, like Ken's flaming dragon punch, sends you on fire for a split second. You know. So I reckon he doesn't even need to scale to a certain degree. Spinning pile drivers that people can take into the ground and still get up.
Yeah, because they're all mutants in that universe. But like, so yeah,
I think it's slot in there perfectly because
perfectly.
Even his power set would slot in there right there.
Yeah, he's over the top moves and stuff will make sense. They probably make him even more over the top. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see that, like him take on Python.
Yeah.
Or even Akuma.
Oh,
wait, what's Akuma's mega stage? Oni, there we go. That'd be hilarious to see. And then he'd get taken over by the Dark Condor and become Dark Iron Fist.
Yeah. No, yeah, well...
yeah. See? That'd be amazing.
So then he'd get a purple costume, similar to Steel Serpent, and then they could just say he becomes Steel Serpent.
See, there you go.
Okay, so
Dark Fist.
How would you say that...
He does fit in, because it doesn't like Hadou... Whatever the martial arts style they do, isn't that basically called the Iron Fist?
Sasuke? No. That's the assassination.
Oh, whatever. Then
or something.
Yeah, retcon it be Iron Fist.
But it is Assassin's Fist as the movie called it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh.
So all right, here's the next one. The Terrifics. You know the Terrifics are.
Yep. The fake Fantastic Four.
Yep. Consisting of Mr. Terrific, Phantom Girl, Plastic Man, and Metamorpho.
Yep.
How do you reckon they fare against X-Men enemies?
They'll be story-wise, be quite fun.
Mm-hmm.
Power-wise, one name. I just had to say it. Apocalypse. End of.
Yeah, no. Plastic Man can. I'm not saying Plastic Man can just handle him, but I mean, they've got a very smart guy.
Yeah.
A really crazy guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I say a science brute to a certain degree that the metaphor because he needs to know what he can change into and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. So, between them, the flexibility of it, like you could have them Metamorpho and Plastic Man handle Apocalypse to a certain degree, and then Mr. Terrific try and find a solution to the problem.
Yeah, but power-wise, he would take them both because again, Apocalypse's powers are so. No one actually knows what they are.
Yeah, exactly.
He's
I mean, you need a certain scale to be fair.
Yeah. But then you got to remember, Beast is genius level IQ. There's like so many other people. You got what's his name? Nemesis X.
Right.
Again, another genius level person. Part of the X-Men and stuff.
Okay, but
and they're still trying to figure it out.
The X-Men are moved to the DC universe where Michael Holt is the 7th smartest person in the universe.
Yeah.
In the DC, is it the 7th?
Something like that.
Something like that. So, smartest on what exactly? I mean, they could tactics, engineering, physics. What if it's everything? Then I'm sure he'll find some sort of solution to. But okay. But aside from that, but then again, look at the X-Men.
So I'm saying they're still trying to beat him. So I'm saying
that's I'm saying none of their powers handle Apocalypse.
But they've never actually beaten Apocalypse to like death. You know what I mean? Like, there's always some weird way of he's like, okay, I see.
But then again, as well, I suppose you write it in such a way that not similar to the X-Men how they deal with Apocalypse, but if they've never fought Apocalypse head on, then you're not gonna write the Terrifics to do the same either.
Yeah.
But let's say the Shi'ar Empire, the Brood, some like the Brotherhood of Mutants and stuff like that. Do you read an interesting mix if the Terrifics were to? To be fair, there's only 4 of them considering, and you can have how many people can you have in the opposing team? You'd have to, I don't say necessarily cull, but you can't be like the teams of the X-Men are massive. So
well, it's like it depends. Yeah, it's between normally like 6 and 7. Yeah.
And that's on each team.
Yeah.
But if you were so but you reckon do you reckon it would be an interesting?
It'd be interesting. Yeah. I wouldn't read it, but because I'm barely reading Fantastic Four, so I wouldn't read it. The Terrific.
I have to say, I think the Terrifics, funny enough, have more. I want to say personality than Fantastic Four. They're more. I don't want to say they're limited, but Mr. Fantastic only can stretch. Plastic Man can do whatever, and is more unlimited with his abilities. I know Rex Mason is meant to be their thing, but he changes forms and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. So I know they've got the personalities mix around a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think their power set is more expansive.
Yeah, but
so they can do more things that the Fantastic Four can't. Because the thing, I don't want to say he's static, but he's human. He's not going to be able to metamorphic do stuff. To be fair though, if you switch the other way, Mr. Terrific, what's this? T-Spheres, he's a human.
Yeah. Yeah, but something like it just depends, like because character-wise, I don't really know about any of them really, so I don't know how it would work. But because I know about the Fantastic Four, like the selling point with them is the whole family dynamic and all that. True. So it's like that sort of gives it the heads up in a way. But
all right, okay. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
The comics version, right?
All right. Which
if they had, what do you mean?
There's like 3 different iterations.
Oh, yeah.
But get on,
Yeah. If they had Batman's Rogues Gallery, how do you think that would work?
That would be out of all these scenarios, I'd probably read this the most because it's like the Turtles all each bring something like unique and entrance to the table. Yeah. So like they would fit in a weird dark Gotham because you got the hothead Raphael, you got the science dude Donnie, Michelangelo light-hearted one, and Leonardo straightforward leader type, and they all sort of are archetypes of lots of Batman's villains as well. So it would sort of work, and the team dynamic, facing one of them would be quite interesting.
You know what I'd have to say as well. You're saying Donnie is the smart guy. If, for example, you popped up Riddler here, I could see Master Splinter being the wise old sage that helps him as well with some of them more confounding puzzles.
Yeah,
he'd be like, I mean, like you're saying, each of the characters might have a different dynamic with different Batman villains. So I can see Riddler going, all right, well, Donnie there, the smart guy, Donatello, and Splinter as well. These guys are the guys that are going to be my clues, guys. I can see Raza going, Leonardo. Leonardo is the lead of, can be the lead of my next, the Demon's Head. Because he's like...
Because they sort of done that in the comics when he became the leader of... When basically he got amnesia. I can't remember how. And then Shredder convinced him that he was his son and he was helping him lead the Foot Clan.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and then you get the actually, you know what would be funny if Michelangelo. I'm not saying the Joker would go after Michelangelo, but you know it's not like silent cold Batman here, but the different personalities of Joker's like the different personality of the Turtles will give the Joker different things to do.
But I think for that, the Joker wouldn't bother with Michelangelo because he
Raphael,
wants
right?
he wants to be he wants to go towards like people who were strict to the law and stuff like that. Because Michelangelo is basically a stone or whatever.
Yeah.
He wouldn't bother with that.
Yeah.
He'll go for more like the others because they're the opposite of chaos. You know what I mean? They're order.
Yeah.
Where Donatello, not Donatello. Sorry, what I keep saying? Michelangelo is a random.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I mean? So he
it
wouldn't-
confound him. He'd be like, "What's this guy?" You know.
And plus, like, if I was writing as well, I would just keep Splinter sort of as their Alfred. I wouldn't make him a major plot point or whatever.
Oh no, but he fills a gap that they might not between the four personalities have.
Yeah.
So yeah, the different Batman enemies I think would associate themselves more with one character than the other. But then obviously they'd be a team, whereas the Batman enemies don't team up really.
Yeah. Plus, how they sort of write Splinter in the comics.
Yeah.
No one really knows Splinter except for Shredder, obviously, because Shredder has that whole backstory with him.
Yeah.
Cause
Wait, is this the backstory as in the movies where he was a rat where he legit was a rat, and then he copied his master's martial arts moves and then got mutated, or is it the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles origin where he got bit by the mutated rat and turned into a rat himself?
Random tangent. This will make you confused as well. Right, the comics now has taken both of those and merged it. Right, so basically, he was a rat when he found him.
Yeah.
Stuff he got put in mutagen, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then you find out that they're all descendants from a Japanese family from the 1600s or whatever.
Yeah.
Who was killed by Shredder.
Right.
And their essences through reincarnation brought them to that.
Oh, okay, so you're trying to tell me essentially this is a fix that merges both the storylines together.
Yeah.
So what popular people know from the cartoon and what the comics is, you can say both are valid, but it's like the Grant Morrison Joker is Super Saiyan and every single personality is an adaptation to the... All right, okay. Yeah. That's a bit of a mucky one. They kind of...
It's good how they put it off. You're like, huh, okay. Okay, cool.
Right. Okay, so as we were speaking about Nightwing before, and he doesn't have a great Rogues Gallery.
Yeah.
Where if you Nightwing had Iron Fist as Rogues Gallery, and we're talking about like martial artists, stuff like that, because I think in that case they obviously show him his ability, but then also he's like, okay, now he's got his own set of Rogues Galleries that challenge him on different levels. That if he can't outfight someone, because some of them are going to be really trained, like Steel Serpent, you know, you have to outsmart them. We just give them a set of enemies like Batman's style, if you know what I mean. I know Batman's is more of his personality and mentality, but these can be martial arts based on physicality. And then,
alright. Name me some of Iron Fist's villains so I can sort of like comprehend this.
Okay. So Steel Serpent, of course.
Yeah, from the thing.
That Cobra, I believe, is a big burly guy.
Okay.
A sumo guy. I want to say Madame Gao, but it's not Madame Gao. It's a different name. But he had that big like that Mortal Kombat style storyline. Actually, you know what? I'm not even sure. I'd say Randall Wells from the storyline. Because they put this in season 2 of Iron Fist. Randall, I can't remember the Iron Fist that wasn't Iron Fist. But they made him a major part of that storyline as well.
Okay.
No, he was Iron Fist, but he didn't get killed. I don't know. That's why I want to read the storyline. It's actually really good. But they had all top tier martial artists in that.
All right. We all, because Nightwing isn't like as great a fighter as Batman. Obviously.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've used tactics to take other people out of that.
Like, it would be kind of cool to see how he would get around that. Yeah. But like, Nightwing, because he's more of a street level, like taking down like gangs and stuff like that. I don't know if him in a street fighting sort of environment comic thing would work, because it kind of takes away the whole point of him.
No, I mean like just transplant the enemies over to Bloodhaven or whatever.
Yeah.
Because then it just gives them a fresh new set of enemies that actually have not necessarily gimmicks, but they can challenge him on a different level other than say the gangs that he beats up. It's just, they're normal guys he beats up without sweat, even as he says. So
I know, because I like seeing Nightwing as like most comics, like even Batman, sort of take out people who are like meta-humans and stuff like that, and I find that more interesting and seeing like, the human guy.
Oh, it's true.
Take on someone who is not a human. Well, that's dumb, but you know what I mean? Sort of powered up. So you just find people sort of on the same level, you're like, oh, this is not as interesting as it should be. But it would be, if it was like a mini-series, yeah, it'd be pretty fun.
How would you, final one, last one.
Yep, final one.
How would you say Deathstroke would fare against Wolverine's enemies?
Ooh.
So I'd say the problem with Wolverine's enemies, obviously, they either got healing factors or adamantium to match up.
Yeah.
Or poison to nullify his healing factors.
Yeah. It's something, like you said, to nullify his things. Yeah.
But I think Deathstroke going for the killing strikes would even stuff. I mean, he's got his own healing factor to a certain degree, but because he's willing to chop arms off so if he's fighting Sabretooth, for example,
like,
forever. No. But he just like chop his arm off to gain my own advantage or bomb him like that. I think tactically speaking and physically, he could deal with them.
Yeah, no,
in more creative ways.
I think he could. He's one of the few that of these scenarios that would work.
Yeah,
because like even when you think about it, Wolverine, technically isn't really a good guy.
I'd say in Wolverine, he's a brute fighting other brutes essentially because he's not a tactical thinker.
Yeah, I'm saying like so. Deathstroke would sort of work because again, he's not really a good guy, is he? He's not really a bad guy either. It's just if you give me money, I'm gonna do this. If this suits my agenda.
Or if they're fighting me, I'll go. I'll fight them back.
In Wolverine's world, it would work. He would work. All right, he might have a disadvantage at some of them, but obviously because he's got his precognition sort of thing.
90% of his brain.
That stuff. It would work. It'd be fun to see him take on
because someone like Cyber would be like, well, okay, I mean, I can see him thinking, all right, how am I going to get around this guy's
side?
That sort of thing. It's not like an Omega Red where he's got his poison. I don't want to say poison mist, but because that's a wrestling thing.
Pheromones and that stuff. Yeah.
So he'd go around rather than fight direct on some of them.
Yeah.
But the guys who can fight, he will probably fight directly. Like for example, if he was to try and fight Sabretooth, he can outskill Sabretooth, but he's going to have to go for them killing blows to continue fighting because he's not going to be able to handle straight up fight for that long with a guy that vicious.
Yeah, he'll have to get the Mishima blade and cut him so it nullifies his healing factor and then cut his head off. But then he'll come back through weird cloning. Through Sabretooth. But no. Deathstroke, I would love to see that.
Okay, cool. All right, that'll close the podcast for today. Though we might get back to this specific subject later on because there's many combinations that you could do.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm CY Chong.
I'm Kyle Charles, and I'd like to thank you all for taking a trip around the multiverse with us. Until next time, true believers. I don't know why I said that.